Hi, this is Kevin from the Information Lab. In this video, I will show you how we can connect to multiple data sources and automate mechanical tasks to create refreshed, clean data sets that can be used to populate dashboards for you and your customers. In this demo, we're going to be using Alteryx Designer and Tableau Server. So within Alteryx Designer, if we want to connect to our data, we can drag an input data tool onto the canvas. This tool allows us to connect to flat files and databases, and for this demo I'm going to connect to a saved data connection from Microsoft SQL Server. We can see all the different schemas here, and we could use that to navigate through to find a specific table, or if we actually just know the name of the table, which I do in this case, we can search for it. Once we find a table here, then we can just drag that in, and then we can click on the star to bring in all columns. If I wanted to choose a subset, I could just choose a number of columns and leave the rest excluded, but for now we'll bring in everything. This data set tracks order information, and so every single row is an order. But I also have a local file that tracks every single order that has been returned, and I want to bring these two together to analyze them. So I can take an input data tool and drop that, a second one, and drop that on the canvas. And I can navigate, and this time I can navigate to an Excel sheet here. Like you see, returned orders. So I can open this up, and I can choose the returns sheet and click OK. To bring these two together, I can use the join tool and drop that on the canvas and pipe in from both data sources into this tool, specifying that I want to join on order ID. This is the field that they have in common. I can use a union tool to make sure I'm taking all the information from the database, and then as well as that, anything that matches from the database onto the returned flat file that I have. Sometimes it's good to clean up the data or create derived calculations, and in this case I want to deal with some nulls that are coming through. So I can drop a formula tool here, and I can overwrite the column for returns. I can use an if statement to say if is null, so if my returned column is null, well then that means that they haven't been returned. So if null, not returned. Else, they have been returned. And then I can end the if statement. So now I've brought my data together and prepared it, I'm ready to output it. So I can use an output data tool, drop that at the end, and I can say, okay, well let's output it for now into an Excel sheet. I can say exported data. I can set that as a flat file here, as an Excel sheet, and save it. And it's going to ask me for a sheet name, so I can put that in. And maybe I can also, if I wanted to, publish to a database. So in this case, I've taken information in from a database, a Microsoft SQL Server, so I can push it out to a database. Again, I can use the same save data connection if I want, and I can specify that I can say exported data. And I can click OK. Additionally, I can take a publish to Tableau server tool and drop that on the canvas. So instead of writing to a file or a database, I can publish up this data source directly to my Tableau server. In this case, I'm going to use the Information Lab's Tableau server. So I can put in my username and my password, and I can specify which site that I want to publish this up to. In this case, I already had a similar returns data set, so I want to update that. So I can choose an existing connection, which is Augmented Superstore here, and I can choose to overwrite that. And now I can click Run. So this will go off and take information from my database and my flat file, join it together, deal with any null issues that I have, and write it to a flat file, to a database, and then publish up onto my Tableau server here. So as this is completing, I can go off and I can sign into Tableau server. So the same username and password. And within this area, I can look for specific projects, and then I can see, okay, well I want to go in and look at my demo project. So that noise there, that means then that everything is being published through, and you can see that it's completed successfully. So within my demos area here, I have this dashboard, Augmented Superstore Analysis, and then if I click on that and I go into my dashboard, I've actually got something pre-built that uses this data, but now I've actually updated it. So now I'm looking at the most relevant data that is coming from my database and from my flat file. So I can choose Ireland here and see contextually which of my different subcategories are performing and not performing, and I can choose returns or not returns. But that doesn't answer a specific question I may have on whether or not, I suppose, which is the best performing and the worst performing subcategory specifically related to returns. That is not contained within this report. So what I can do is I can go back to Augmented Superstore here, and I can see which data source this is based on. And I can go to that data source on Tableau Server, and I can create a new workbook. And so that means that users can come in and then build ad hoc reports as they want based on this data that we've just pushed up to the server. So in this case, if I want to take in returned information and say, okay, of the orders that have been returned or not returned, for which subcategory was there the most sales associated with? So I can drag sales up here. And immediately I can have a bar chart here that will tell me, okay, well, bookcases had the highest number of sales associated with returned information. So any user can come in and ask ad hoc queries of the data set themselves on a reporting server, or they can use pre-built reports. And I suppose most importantly, this entire process, which goes from a database and a flat file all the way up to a report, can be automated. If you have any questions, please tweet at us or drop me an email. Thank you.